everybody. Welcome to episode number 12 of the Clarity Project podcast. I am your host, Carl Umali. For today's episode, we're going to go back and to our previous setup, wherein I'm going to read and reflect from my notes. I'm going to read my notes from this notebook, and then I'm going to reflect on them afterwards. So, for today's episode, I'm going to read to you a quote from Paulo Coelho, which goes out like this. One day, you're going to wake up and there won't be any time left to do the things you've always wanted to do. Let me repeat that. One day, you're going to wake up and there won't be any time left to do the things you've always wanted to do. Again, that quote is from Paulo Coelho. Now, from this quote, I guess I can remember a speech from a certain person. I don't remember who this person is, but I think it's from Denzel Washington in one of his speeches. And in one of his speeches, he said, imagine yourself in your deathbed, and in your deathbed, you are surrounded by ghosts. And these ghosts represent the yous that have died down, the versions of you that you let yourself die. These are the versions of which that could have happened, that only if you let them happen would have been a reality. The possibilities, the what ifs, this certain kind of versions, certain kind of a life that you could have been living or you could have lived if you only let them come to reality. If you let them come true. Perhaps these are the versions of you that didn't happen not because of an external force or that maybe someone is threatening your life that if you do this, I will kill you. No, it's not like that. These things didn't happen because someone prevented you from doing it. It's because you prevented yourself from doing it. These versions of yourself could have been a reality. You could have been with this person. You could have been in this kind of a neighborhood. You could have been in this kind of a house. You could have been friends with these kinds of people. And your story would be entirely different if only you let them live. And so, as you're imagining these ghosts, as you're surrounded by these ghosts, these alternate realities, alternate versions of yourselves in your deathbed, Denzel asks the question, in your deathbed, before you say goodbye to this world, how many of these ghosts will you see? How many of these versions of these realities that who you could have been would be there? You know, the thing that I'm doing here with the Clarity Project podcast is kind of similar to that sentiment. I mean, I could be doing other things, but I'm doing the podcast. I'm doing the Clarity Project. I'm shooting, I'm creating videos, I'm writing, stuff like that. At some point, I do realize that I should be doing something else. Some days, I feel like I'm wasting my time here. Some days, honestly, I don't feel like it's good enough, or that I'm good enough, or that I have what it takes. But there are days wherein I feel like I would rather do this than anything else in the world. I know that I should be doing something that's probably related to my course. Maybe I should have joined the corporate world by now. I know that at this time, it's not giving me anything in terms of a career, right? It doesn't look like a career right now. Now, I've worked in the past few months as a writer, right? Although this kind of writing I feel like it's not creative enough, or it's not the clarity project, the kinds of writing that I'm doing now. And so I quit my job. And ever since then, I haven't been looking for any kind of a job whatsoever. I'm not in the market to look for a job, but I know that someday and pretty soon, I might be forced to come and look for a job. When I was 17, 16 years old, as a junior high school student and as a senior high school student, I thought to myself that I was already old by then, that I was already an adult. Seeing how junior high schools were, seeing how elementary folks were at high school, it really gives me the perspective that I was old. At that time, I wanted to work, right? I wanted to join the workforce. I wanted to be able to have the capacity to be able to buy stuff, to be able to fund my passion. My passion at that time was anywhere between vlogging and the arts, and so I wanted probably to invest in some kind of an equipment that would help me, shoot the videos that I wanted to shoot, create the art that I wanted to create. But now, looking back, I'm 23 years old and I'm still unable to do these things. And I'm still unable to buy the equipment that I really wanted to have, the kind of quality, the kind of production that I really want to have as a creator. And at the same time, looking back, at 17 years old and 18 years old was young. At that time and at that point, I thought to myself that I was old. When in reality, now at 23, looking back, 17, 18 years old is super young. And at that point in my life, I thought that I was already old. Perhaps right now, at 23, I know that I'm old, right? If I compare myself to who I was in 17 or 18 years old, I know that I've gotten older. I'm still young, 23, and probably 3 years from now, 5 years from now, I'm going to have the same realization that at 23, I was so young. And so, I am in this kind of a weird phase in my life wherein I'm, you know, I know that pretty soon I would have to make that decision to be able to create something that's going to do something financially, right? Financially speaking, it's going to create something. Because right now, the Clary project, it's good and all. I get so much out of it, more than money. I get the freedom, I get the free time, which is the most expensive thing in the world. That's my tweet, by the way, yesterday. I said that free time is the most expensive thing in the world, because it is. Not everybody has a free time, and free time is a luxury. I know that pretty soon enough, I'll have to go that route and probably, slave away in order for me to be able to fulfill this, to be able to sustain the Clarity Project. Because I know that soon enough, I would have to be forced to make that decision. And perhaps I'm thinking, you know what? Maybe I shouldn't wait, right? Maybe I should just get on with it and not go full time with the Clarity Project. Because one of the realizations that I also had, and maybe you have this too, right, is that sometimes you give yourself the free time and you get a little bit of free time and you give yourself the chance to be able to explore what you love, to be able to do what you love. And you realize that at first it feels so good, right? You're so passionate about it, you're so motivated about it, but eventually you burn out. And you're not expecting that because you're expecting that burnouts happen to the things that you hate doing, right? Burnouts easily happen when you're doing something that you don't like, when you're doing something that you hate. That's pretty much obvious, and I have a short video about that. But one of the most painful realizations is that you can also burn out with the things that you love. Is that you can also be tired doing the things that you love. Now, the Clarity Project is as I said, it's really cool and it's really fulfilling to me, right? But sometimes there are days wherein I have just so many ideas, but I can't execute, right? I have I want to be able to talk to this person, but they're unavailable. I want to be able to share my knowledge, share my experiences, but circumstances would lead me to be able to postpone it. That's why I've been making as much as episodes that I want to do because I have to postpone them. Another thing that I realize is that perhaps being full time with the Clarity Project is also hurting the Clarity Project because one thing I realize is you can't do because one thing that I realize is that you can't be an artist 24/7. I don't know if that's just me or maybe that's also you, but you can't be passionate about something 24/7 because it will just wear you down. Give yourself the time, give yourself space to be able to have freedom, to be able to just enjoy your life, to just be able to take a step back, watch videos or whatnot, movies, read books, be inspired again, fall in love again to your craft, fall in love again to your passion, to be able to discover yourself again. You have to give yourself that freedom to take a step back every once in a while, doing the things that you love, and so that you have more clarity going forward. Sometimes when you're trying to push the limits and what you're trying to do, and you see that it's not getting the traction that you wanted to have, or that it's not fulfilling you enough, or that it's not moving and you're pushing so hard, sometimes what you need is a rest. Sometimes what you need is to take a break. And this short breaks, this short clarities, if you will, that you let yourself be into will be the fuel for the next project, will inspire you for the next thing that you want to do. The idea of going all in for the thing that you love is so good, right? When you hear that someone is going all in for the things that they love, it's so motivating and it's so liberating. It's like I want to do that too. I know this might sound silly or it might seem that I'm romanticizing the idea of being an artist or having the life of an artist or something like that. But that's what you signed up for, right? That's why you do what you do. In a letter that I did, when was that? 2021. And the letter that I did, it's called A Letter to Artists. It's on Instagram. It's also in my YouTube channel. A letter to artists is a letter to myself. It's to remind myself that I might be doing the things that I hate in order for me to do the things that I love. It's a reminder to myself that, you could have gone to a much more safer field. You might have done, other things that are might be more practical, but you didn't because this is what you want to do. You can't think of anything else to do but this. You sometimes question yourself that why didn't you just become good at math and become an engineer or an accountant and get this whole life over with, right? But no, you're in this world and you found yourself in a situation wherein this is what you're supposed to do. It's a little harder, but this is what you're supposed to do. There's assurance in that, right? Knowing that this is what you're supposed to do. But sometimes in the back of your head, you think to yourself and you question yourself, is this really what I want to do? Is this really what I'm made to do in this world? And that's a scary thought. But at least you're doing something. And doing something rather than not doing anything is better. Let me read further. Every winner and every loser have the same goals. Your goals don't make you unique. Your activities make you unique. Let me repeat that. Every winner and every loser have the same goals. Your goals don't make you unique. Your activities make you unique. The goal of the winner is to commit to the activities. The goal of the loser is to commit to the goal. I don't know what your goals are, and I don't know what your dreams are, but goals and dreams, in this passage at least, it says that it doesn't make you unique. Everyone has dreams, everyone has goals. That doesn't make you unique. Each and every one of us wants to go somewhere, wants to achieve something, but that's about it. What matters more is the activities, the activities that you are doing, the steps, the habits that you're currently doing in order to achieve that goal. That's where all of us are different. Let me read another one. Be all in on a decade. If it doesn't happen in a decade, then maybe by then you can look back and think about it again. Again. This goes back to the idea of you going back to your goals and being all in. Here's the thing, being all in is a luxury, right? Just like how free time is a luxury, being all in and just being focused in achieving your goals is a luxury. I don't know if you've known it by now, maybe you know someone, or maybe you're experiencing it right now. Achieving your goal, or at least the pursuit for your goal, is a luxury. Not everybody has the chance to do that. Probably because, well, they have to provide. Probably because, well, uh, they need to work to survive and things like that. And if you're in that situation, it becomes clear early on that you have to sacrifice a version of yourselves. Going back to that Denzel Washington speech, you have to sacrifice a part of yourself in order to just survive, in order to just live or to provide or something like that. And it's not the best thing in the world. It's not a good feeling, but sometimes you have to say goodbye, right? You know to yourself that this is your passion. You know to yourself that this is what you want to do. But life is not fair. There are some kids whose first house is a mansion, whose first car is a sports car, is a luxury car. Not because they're self made or anything like that, but because they're born into that kind of a family. Unfortunately for us, we have to strive, we have to work hard, we have to meet the right people, we have to be at the exact the right place at the right time. We have to be doing the right thing to be able to live that kind of a life. It's almost like winning the lottery, and they won that lottery of being born into that kind of a family. It's a little bit infuriating, but at the same time, you also have to look at their situation. How do you live, and what do you strive for when you already have everything? What are your goals when, again, your first house is a mansion? Before you could even learn how to walk, before you could even learn how to talk, that you're already surrounded by multiple properties, multiple houses, or maybe multiple companies, and that you've never ever had to worry about money because, well, your family's got it. And not only that, maybe you're born into power. Not only that you've got money, you also have power because your dad, your grandparents, your great great grandparents, or your ancestors have done something in the past that led you to that kind of a reality. What can you strive for if that's your reality? There's no further goal. There's no impossible dream because perhaps your only dream is that you could be a little bit richer than your cousin, a little bit richer than your friend's dad, or something like that. But for what cost? You're already there. You're already comfortable. And I guess that's why they say that being artists is a luxury, especially in the olden times. When you look back at the times of Rizal, the reason that they were such great artists, the way that they're, at least Rizal's friends group are writers, are painters, or stuff like that, is because, well, they were born into a rich family. They were aristocratic in a way. The reason that they were able to do that was because they have the resources to do that. Imagine if Rizal was born into a poor family. Do you think that Rizal would have wrote that book, his novels? Let alone, do you think even Rizal would learn how to read? Now, this is not me taking a dump to the people that are born into a wealthy life. But I guess what I'm trying to say here and what I'm trying to let you understand is that there's a incommensurate amount of opportunities that we have. Because think about it. If you are born into that kind of a life of richness, and a kind of opulence, there's no more mission. There's no real mission. The mission of looking at your family members and, wishing them to have a better life. There's no more mission of you having this kind of a story, a rags to rich story. There's no more of this goal that you're striving for. And it's just a version of how many more can you have rather than can you get it. It's a different story. The first version says, how many more dollars can you have? The first version says, how many more properties can you have? But the other version is, can you even have a property? Can you even have this X amount of thing? And so, with that, I guess we should go back to the quote of Paulo Coelho, which is, one day you're going to wake up and there won't be any time left to do the things you've always wanted to do. And you might think you have forever, but no. When you think about the people close to you, people that you know personally or probably just in your vicinity that died young, you would know that you should not take life for granted because you don't know how much time left you have in this world. Or that maybe by letting your versions of yourself die out, as Denzel would say, in order for you to provide, in order for you to strive for that imaginary finish line, to that goal, or to that dreams of yours, then you said goodbye to so many things of yourselves that by in your deathbed, it's already too late for you to pursue them. That in your deathbed, someday you're going to wake up and you won't have the same energy, you won't have the same capacity to be able to live the life that you've always wanted or to do the things that you've always wanted to do. And so I guess that's it. So this is episode number 12 of the Clarity Project podcast. If you listen to it as a whole or you listen to it in snippets, I'd like to be able to thank you. And yeah, goodbye. Thanks again.